Great. So here is the program data input form. And this form is really what's going to be the star showcase once we go to the front-facing form. So your program name here. Now, this is the actual name of the program that you are running. So if that ends up being seniors connection activity or a youth facilitated lunch and learn with other kids or with seniors or with family members, that's what you're putting in that program name. Then your number of volunteers. So did you have volunteers? You may not have added volunteers, but you can add that. You've got the drop down there for your number of volunteers, and then your total volunteer hours. So most of you, all of you should be collecting this information anyways. So if you, with your annual report, we understand that you only need to submit one outcome, but we know we all do far more work than that. And that's what we're trying to demonstrate with this advocacy tool. So put in your number of numbers of volunteers, your volunteer hours, and then your location. So I'll let you click on that next one, Melissa. So right now, the location, hopefully, you're going to be able to find. The thing about location is, where is your funding going to? Because this list came from the province. So for myself, we are a regional program. However, the funding goes to the town of St. Paul, even though I am the county of St. Paul and the town of Elk Point. So that's what you need to keep in mind. If you're like, oh my goodness, I don't see us. Yes, you're there. It just has to do with the fact, where's your funding actually going to? The grant funds. So that's how you get that. So I'm going to stop in that background first and just ask, are there any questions concerning just that background piece?
I think our funding comes from City of Lacombe and Lacombe County. So how would we?
So at this time, I would put in, I would just select the one. Can you bring that back up, Melissa, and see what shows up? Okay. Okay, so you have two in there.
Right.
So you could, depending on how many programs you're doing with this, you could put, I mean, let's say you did that program in the county and as well in the city, that same program, you could list that program name twice, right? So you had that seniors connection, but did you, depending on your program, can you give me an example?
Well, our seniors program, we do, like, our FCSS is Lacombe and district. So we do Lacombe and Lacombe County. So like a lot of our programs are both at the same time.
Okay.
Whether it's seniors or referral.
So I think if you choose either one is fine. You don't have to choose both, because if you're putting all the data in there, what's going to happen on the front facing place is that anything that's regional, all of the areas in there are going to be something that you select under a name. You'll see the reflection that it means Lacombe County and Lacombe City or town. That's who the data is for. So when you're sending it to your MLAs or you're sending it to your counselors, the data you will get will be all the data that falls under both of those funding sources, wherever, regardless of what you've chosen on the back, because anywhere where the funding is pooled, the front facing stuff will show that all together.
Okay, so like for our home support program, for funding wise, we do our home support program in City of Lacombe, Lacombe County, and Clive. So do I need to break it out?
No.
Don't break it out.
No.
Just put it under maybe Lacombe County? Like, what's a better reporting for who sees it?
It doesn't matter, because it's going to pull it as because you're Lacombe district, you said, correct,
Yes.
Celeste?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the front facing, we will show you afterwards when you're able to click location, because many people are going to be using the front facing, right? Not just FCSS wisdom people, but
Yeah.
community members and municipal leaders and MLAs and so forth. So if they're just like, I want to know what's happening in my county, they're going to select their county and all that information is going to come up.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not going to matter. So thanks for that clarification. Does that answer your question completely, Celeste?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the other one I see, we've got Rihanna going, can we edit once we have entered the data? Yes, but we're going to go systematically through this so that we can answer those questions at the end, Rihanna. So we'll go through each of these sections on the form and then kind of open it up for all of those fun questions that we might not answer as we go through the form. So perfect. Anybody else concerning the background? Okay,
FCSS, Rochelle speaking.
go ahead, Rochelle. Oh, maybe she wasn't talking to us. All right, we'll move around along to about. So program delivery by. So again, you've got a click down option there. FCSS directly, in partnership with FCSS, or FCSS funded. So yeah, no problem, Rochelle. I see you're sorry. You choose one of those. So if it's directly funded, perfect, put that one, click that one. And then your total number of participants, or your partnerships, if it was something that you were in partnership with somebody. And then your target audience. So for this one, we were in seniors. So, you know, it might be seniors. But you have to choose one, right? Obviously, with this going to a front facing, you've always got to remember this is not your annual report. We are not reporting this directly to the province. This is an advocacy tool for you to utilize so that it makes the full statement and tells the story of the prevention work that each one of you are doing. Okay.
So if you don't have a primary audience of one of those communities, what you pick if you think it's kind of a multitude.
Perfect. I love how Tara's just going to interject if Lynn misses stuff. That's the way this process works. Perfect. So any question about? Awesome. We're trying, our goal here was to try to make this as easy as we possibly could for everyone. Outcomes. So social well-being outcomes. Obviously, there is not as large a list as you're used to seeing, thankfully. So in here, social well-being outcomes. So can you explain partnership piece again? Okay, I'll come back to that in a minute, Jeanette. So here is our social well-being outcome. So if it was connecting and engaging our seniors community, let's say, that would be the one I'd select. Obviously, you're going to choose that outcome based on what you were looking for from that program that you've entered.
Lynn, I think before you go further in this, I
Okay.
just want to give a bit of a high level to everyone why it looks like this. We are kind of caught in that space between pre-framework opportunities and the old measures bank and the outcomes that we've been reporting on for a multitude of years, and these new provincial priorities that are in the framework and the prevention strategies that we're now kind of guiding us, but we're not yet being asked to necessarily track in the same way or report on. And so what this advocacy tool looks like right now is our best attempt at combining the old, since that is what we're still tracking, trying not to make additional work for folks, and sort of introducing the new provincial priorities, as in that's the future and the direction we're going. So these social well-being outcomes are from the old system. where your measurement and the measurement stuff you're going to be putting in there right now should directly align with these. When you look at your 2023 reporting, these will be the outcomes. And then you can do your positive impact. And now we're saying to you, hey, you know what? For advocacy, the provincial government has put these prevention priorities before us because they'd like to see how we align. And so please align with those, because that's going to tell our impact story in terms of advocacy going forward, is how we're upstream impacting those provincial priorities.
And maybe, Tara, you just want to touch on, Jeanette is saying that the outcomes you list are slightly different wording. Do you want to?
Can you do the drop down again, Melissa? Yeah, they are. Well, that's interesting. Yes, they are slightly different, Jeanette. I didn't notice that, honestly. But they're slightly different wording, but they do align very clearly with when you look at the wording with the three categories that exist: the community development category, the youth category. They're just worded slightly differently than they were in that original outcomes measures bank, but that is the intention. So I don't think it should cause anybody any problems, because they're very close. They're just not worded exactly the same. But honestly, Jeanette, thanks for pointing that out. That really wasn't the intention.
Can I just comment that it may be an issue for people that are maybe new in their role, and they're going to look at all the information that the past person has left for them, and that might be where it's confusing.
Thanks. Yeah, we will look at what that would be to make it exact.
You also have to realize with doing this advocacy tool, again, we are moving away from this a little bit, and there'll be this transition piece as well, Jeanette, that this is hoping to kind of guide people through. But again, remember, this is an advocacy tool. This is not your annual report.
Yeah. Well, and this section will be dropped. Honestly, and the new key result pieces will be in here in replacement of this as we move completely away from these. So yeah, it's a short-term transition form at this point.
Yeah.
I think Tara has a question as well, Lynn.
Yeah, go ahead, Tara.
I'll turn my camera on. I'm assuming that with the primary target audience, as well as with the social well-being outcome, you can only select one. So you just select, like, so if you are targeting more than one, you just select which one is best.
There's add another outcome. You can add it right there.
Right where?
There, just directly under number of participants with positive feedback. You can add your second outcome for the same program.
Oh, I did not see that. Okay, sweet. Yeah. But like with the target audience, though, you can't do that, right? So if a program targets seniors and adults, you just kind of go with who attends the most.
Your primary focus. Adults encompasses seniors. Right? Okay. So if you're not choosing community because it's not everybody, adults encompasses seniors. So that would be the default choice there.
Okay.
Because you're targeting basically all adults.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. And then obviously it gives you the opportunity, your number of participants with feedback and your number of participants with positive feedback. And again, you've also got underneath there, remove an outcome or add another outcome, which there you go. Melissa's just showing you there. So was there another question, Tara, or that was just your hand up, I'm going to assume, from before? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, sorry, I just didn't remove that.
No worries. Great. All right, then we're going to move down into that framework strategies implemented. So again, you're choosing your best strategy that you're implementing. So is it to promote and encourage active engagement in the community? Are you fostering a sense of belonging? And these are multiple, Melissa, correct? They should be able to select multiple in these. Yes, there we go. So if your program is more than one of these, there you go. Same with the alignment with provincial priorities. Now this is in your grants, each of you, the strategies and the provincial priorities. Tara and I did not make these up. So if these are new to you, they are in your grant, and that's the next step in this alignment that we're going with. If you're having struggles with this, really reach out to your directors network regional reps. They can be a support to you when it comes to helping you with these strategies and how they align to the provincial priorities. Tara, do you have anything on that you want to add?
I think the only thing is if you are struggling to align yourself with the provincial priorities in particular, because that is how the front facing is going to show up, is under those provincial priorities, because it is an advocacy tool. That think upstream. Like, just always remember, nobody's asking you to do an employment program when you're doing the alignment. It's way up here. When I do youth leadership program, it, is an employment prevention, right? You're giving people the skills, you're getting that. And so really think about the upstream prevention part and which one of these areas you're having the most impact in, or the multiple areas that you're having the most impact in. And then if you continue to struggle with particular programs, by all means, reach out to those directors network representatives, because we've chatted with them about this tool a lot. And talked a lot about kind of making sure that we're getting this idea of the upstream impact and understanding when we remove social isolation or do some of these things, what's the long-term outcome of that. So
for example, when we're talking about a seniors connection, we'll align with the mental health and addictions. Why? Because we're decreasing socialization, and we're also aging well in community. We're helping those seniors make connections that will help them feel a part of the community and connected. So those are two examples. Tara gave you one, I gave you another. Any questions about this? I mean, this is a big section here, this outcomes, and we understand that. Anywhere that you think we could have made this clear besides those outcomes being exactly worded the way we've had them in the past? Susan, did you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was not muted.
Oh, you just came off, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's weird.
No worries. Okay, Jeanette, you have another question?
I just have a comment for this section that you just described.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to write on there that you can select more than one? Or is that in the instructions?
That should be in the FAQ. But if not, we'll take a look at that again in the FAQ and make sure that people know that you can. I mean, obviously, if you click and then you click again, you're going to know you could select more than one, but.
And also just the section above where it's remove or add an outcome or whatever, somehow that needs to be a little bit more distinct so people see it. Just my comments.
Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm just making a couple notes here. As you just kind of, again, come back to that, Jeanette, is when you're dealing with those who are creating this for you, let me tell you, it was pretty difficult, I think, for Tara, Melissa, and I ourselves to describe exactly what we were needing from them. So yes, will there be a bunch of updates done to this right now? No, because we're going to want to get all this feedback first, because anytime you go back to a developer, there's a fee for doing that. And we just want to make sure that we can get this launched before the conference and try to get as many directors on board putting that information, because this is only as beneficial and as big of an advocacy tool as you, the directors, are going to make it, right? The more information we have into this platform, the better this is to show what prevention really does across the province and in your own municipalities. Are you able to print oh, yes. It's going to be very exciting. Are you able to print this page or access the information after you submit? Yes. So we'll come back to that, Anna, but we're really excited about that portion that you can print and utilize this information for yourselves. So we'll touch on that a bit after. So I'm not seeing any more questions concerning the outcomes. So we'll move on. And then taken from participant feedback, 1 to 3 words to fill in the blank. So you're going to see on the front page, front-facing pages, that there are word bubbles. And those word bubbles are coming from this information here. So yes, I understand it's only 1 to 3 words and you're not able to tell a story, but we've tried telling stories before and we haven't gotten very much feedback as well. So this was just a way to help the developers also really utilize at least a little bit of feedback from participants or from volunteers or families or communities. So I guess this is where your creativity and your connection with community is really going to come into play. So yeah, participants felt connected. They felt encouraged. They felt maybe that they were included within. So yeah, anything like that, you can fill in and put that information in there, but it is just 1 to 3 words. So very simple. This might be something when you're doing a community connection event of some sort that you're saying, so how did you feel about this? And, that's a very quick feedback, they felt happy, they enjoyed it. All those type of things is great feedback for this section.
Yeah, I think often you might see themes on your evaluations or however it is that you're collecting your data. A lot of people used the word, I learned, or I was encouraged, or I was inspired by something, or I felt appreciated, or whatever those things are. And you can thematically see what you've got and then drop those words into this space.
Perfect. And then the last part is this upload image from program. So you are obviously, it's on you to make sure that those pictures that you submit, that you've made sure that those participants have signed a waiver, something stating that it's okay for their image to be used. And that's where you can drop these in. These forms will be reviewed by our communications coordinator at the association, Tanisha. She'll be looking over each of these. And so I guess coming back to that part about editing, if you feel that you've entered the data and now you need to edit it, that can be, correct me if I'm wrong, Melissa and Tara, that can be a quick email to Tanisha and say, hey, can you just bump that one back to me or delete it? And she can do exactly that, because it'll have to, before it goes live, it will come through her just to make sure that the information's on there that's needed to put in the front face.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So yes, I've answered that question. Any other questions now? This is it. This is the complete form. Like we said, it's tried to keep it as simple as possible. Jeanette?
The question I had was about the partnerships there that you had, where is that, about? For that, you have number of participants or partners. I'm not sure what you really mean by that.
Well, if you funded it directly and you've got 30 that participated in that seniors connection, that's your participant numbers. If it's something where you've partnered with another organization, then let's say you had both funded it. Maybe there was just there's one partner with you, or maybe there was 2, 3, 4 partners involved in that partnership with FCSS. That's what you would put.
Okay.
So you can add them to your partnership and participants if it's something where there's participants and partners. You can pool those two numbers together and it shows that you did it in partnership. But sometimes we do community development efforts that are like rallying around something. So you're sitting at a table of around domestic violence in Canmore, that would be one, where we're doing no direct programming, but we're informing the needs. We're the convener of people who are interested in that conversation. We're taking a community development role. In that case, we would say this was something we delivered in partnership, and we would list the partners. We don't really have participants. So if you have participants and partners, you can combine the number into that space. But if you just have partners, because of the kind of work that is, and there isn't necessarily a program coming out of it, it's more of a capacity build, you can just write your number of partners in that space.
So then, what would you write in your participants then if it's not a program? If it's just a partnership? And what would your program name be?
Well, that particular program that I'm talking about is called the Harmony Project. I would put the Harmony Project in there. It's intended to do all kinds of outcomes, but it's a group of people building capacity. It's not a bunch of participants that FCSS has. It's a partnership. It's kind of like your interagency, Jeanette. Do you have an interagency?
We don't, no.
Okay, but you understand that interagency kind of concept.
So then
it would be very similar to that.
Okay. So then you're in your number of participants, and in the next section, you'd be measuring some type of outcome and having those participants. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just also wanted to clarify, like, the program name has always been an issue with FCSS for the 28 years that I've been here. Some people would write Seniors Tea, some would write Shameless Hussies, some would write Seniors Connections. So what kind of program name do you want there? Specific or generic? And
yeah, but those program names aren't gonna, it doesn't matter to us on the front face. In all honesty, what it matters is it's going to matter in your municipality if you're going to potentially spotlight a program, Jeanette. So this is going to fall once you see the front facing of this, it's going to choose from those provincial priorities, right? So if you've clicked that this is a seniors, or this is a community event, or this is a youth, and that it is directly correlated to the priority of mental health and addictions or aging well in community, that's where these numbers are going, right? It's not going to a program name.
Okay.
Okay, so that's not going to be the issue for us.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you will get lots of different names in that section, possibly, but you may also get generic ones. But I guess my question really is, like, if that program name isn't relevant, do
But
we
it's
need
going to
it?
be relevant to you. It may be
Oh.
relevant to you as the person putting in the information. So you know what program you actually filled out the form for. So, but maybe I'm going to move on, Jeanette. So if you've
So
got any more questions, you can
Sure,
always email Tara and I.
Sure, I just have one more comment about that though. So if I have 17 programs, I could fill this form out 17 times.
Yes, and I'll be filling mine out more than 17 times.
Right.
And I have to say, what I did,
places.
honestly, Jeanette, is I went to my 2023 annual report
Yes.
and I had a piece of loose leaf in my hand and I wrote down everything that was in that report on this piece of paper. And then I've got this form and I can bang out a program in less than 5 minutes. So
I'm
it's a
only
lot
thinking
quicker
ahead
than it might.
to some of the people that have 300 programs listed in their annual report, but I'll let you move on.
I was going to
Thank
say, I'm
you.
just telling you, Judy has already done it for the city of Edmonton. She was one of the test groupings, and they had a few questions at first too, and worked to find the right way to get their data into the system, so that it reflected the integrity of what they were doing without doing every single one-off in terms of grouping like programs together. So there is that opportunity, and then you can name it however you want if you go ahead and go, it's all the same outcomes we're trying to achieve on these 3 programs, all with the same target audience. That is an option people certainly can choose to take.
Mm-hmm. So Susan, I see your hand. I'm just going to answer a couple of the message in the chat. So would we be able to share her contact info? Yes, I'll get Melissa to put Tanisha. It's just communications at FCSSAA, I want to say. So, but we'll get Tanisha's email put in the chat here for you, Christina, so that you have it, and so does everybody else. Cindy, we grant money to groups. Are we entering the information they supply to us, or do they enter? That's going to be up to you. However, nope, Tara's going to tell you exactly what she does. Her program does that more than I do.
No, we don't. No, we actually don't.
Okay.
But I think it's a login it's going to be a background login, right, to the FCSS site. And so as a funder, outside agencies that you fund will not be being given a login. Correct me if I'm wrong, Melissa. So it's coming
Right.
from somebody
Right.
through your FCSS program who's doing the data input.
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect. That's why the 3 of us work together on this. So good. Hopefully that helps you. Can you define before I get to Susan, one more here. It says, can you define the program delivered by drop-down options? No. We're not going to start telling you what you should name your program. I think that's kind of where Tamara's going with this. Yeah, no, I don't think we're going to do that.
Sorry,
but
no, that's not what I meant.
Okay, what do you mean, Tamara?
It was, can you go back to the, yeah.
Okay.
So if you do the drop down in partnership with FCSS where it says right there at the top. So FCSS directly, FCSS funded, can you just define that for me or explain that to me?
So FCSS directly, so you're funding that, right? The money's coming right from your grant that you receive. Actually,
but your
let me
staff is
back up.
delivering it.
Yes.
Your staff is delivering it. You're not giving it to a secondary agency to deliver the program.
Okay.
FCSS
That's
funded is the secondary agency.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Lynn.
Perfect. Nope. Good. All good. Susan, we'll go to you now since you've had your hand up for a bit there.
Thank you. So my question is not really so much to the form itself, but to some comments that were made stating that this is helping to transition to a new standard, I guess. and what that, or a new model, what that is going to look like, who's that coming from. To be more specific, the word key result was used, and I'm just wondering when that will be implemented, and is that something that's coming from the province or through FCSSAA?
So Susan, that's the those new key results are already in the FCSS approved framework. If you look at the accountability framework, you can see those key results there. So this project that the province is currently working on with a group of directors and the association, I don't know if you've seen the surveys or things coming out from, now I get this wrong every time, I want to call it the Beehive, but that's not correct.
Free Hive.
Free Hive.
Three Hive Consulting. It is a provincial project that's going to have us getting training in 2025 on what we need to be tracking, how these new key results that are already outlined in the framework are going to be asked of you, and what the new reporting system will look like, so that we're receiving training in 2025. We will be tracking in that new system to report for 2026.
Okay.
Annual report. And at that time, when the decision is fully made, if there's anything that we need to tweak on this to make it so that you're not having to track additional or different or contradictory kind of information, we will do that. Recognizing that, again, they're not the same, because one is about accountability to the granting that you received, and one is about advocacy about the impact. But we don't want to make additional work for people. Where we can align and change things, we will. Is that answer your question?
That absolutely answers my question. And that was kind of what I thought was it was going. I just wanted to get some clarity on that. So thank you for that.
If there's no more questions, I am excited for you guys to see what the front facing can look like.
Perfect. And this doesn't mean that you won't have other questions. You know, we are definitely aware that there's going to be lots of questions. We get it. It's new, but we, like Tara just said, we are so excited about the front that you're going to see with this. And then maybe, Melissa, after you show that front facing, you can go to, I'm not sure how much we're able to select to show them what they could potentially be printing off or doing after the fact.
I do want to say, I did see a comment in the chat when we very first started that somebody tried to and was denied access or something. Melissa, is it correct for that particular program to reach out to Tanisha if for some reason they were not able to complete?
Yeah, or me, because Tanisha's on contract, so she doesn't get back right away. So yeah,
Okay.
you can reach out to me too. That it's weird. It is an open forum, so it's weird if there was denied access, but we'll definitely
Yeah.
do it.
Unless you were
want me there
hoping
at
we
the
were
front?
denying you access so you don't have to enter your stuff, which you're going to be wrong. We want everybody to be allowed access. That is a director for sure, to get that information. And so, yep, let's go to the front facing there, Melissa. Okay, so Tara, I'll let you kind of walk through what they're kind of seeing here with the front facing with the population of the data.
Okay. This is the main page. And I don't know where we want to go first, but I'll say this main page is a provincial picture. And what we're going to show as we scroll up is also the provincial picture, with each of the provincial priorities being highlighted and all the data put in for those. As you can see, Melissa's adding them on top of each other and they layer. Melissa, do you want to try and explore one of the provincial picture pages? Because we are going to be short on time, I think, if we don't. So we're on to one of the pages that we clicked there to when it said explore the priority. You can see that there's information there about prevention. So it's always kind of reinforcing this idea that we are not building homes for homelessness, but that prevention does all of this other work. And so there's some data and research pieces embedded within, and then all of the data that you guys as programs have uploaded so far is in here in a live space where you can see the actual numbers of people impacted and some of the impact. These pages set out in this manner are provincial, and they're going to be remain the provincial picture. Is there anything else, Lynn, or you want to say about these? I get excited about the yellow tab at the top. Any thoughts before we go to the yellow tab from the Melissa or Lynn?
I'm just looking at some of the comments on the side. So, you know, that's where this gets exciting. I know Celeste kind of said that the information you get to know who's been looking at you. I don't think we have the capacity to be able to tell you, like Facebook, that you've had umpteen, I don't know, maybe Melissa or Tara knows that. That wasn't something that we were really focused on, is knowing who's been looking at it, rather than us trying to direct people to it once we have the information in there. And yes, Christina, you should add all of your 2024 programs and your 2023. The more information we have in here, the more impact, and that information will stay for the year, 365 days.
Yeah. So I don't think you should put all of your 2023 if you're putting the same program information in for 2024. So if you've already completed something in 2024, don't put your 2023 in because you're skewing your data, right? The intention is either put all of your 2023 and then go in and put all of 2024, or only have one program, kind of 1 year's worth of program information in there, because it will only stay for 365 days so that we don't skew it. But I don't think we should start out by entering 2020, all of 2023. And then if you have additional data for the same programming, to add 2024 to it.
Yeah, I think what I'm most concerned about, Tara, at this point is
get some data in there.
Get some data in there. Like,
yeah.
I mean, if you're that eager, like, good on you. But like Tara said, I mean, we would just be happy if people could get their 2023 in there. Or if you're like,
yes.
no, I'm in 2024, so I'm putting what I got in already. That's fine too. This was meant to go in, you know, and be as user friendly as possible, so you can be in and out. And Tanisha can approve or, you know, send back to you if need be. Yeah. So
yeah.
The other, I was just making sure I didn't miss somebody here. And the provincial summary, or just the provincial. Can I do this for my program? Yeah, you can. You're going to be able to select only your data as well. Okay.
So if we go on this explore support at a glance, that's where you get this opportunity to choose your location. You can apply a multitude of filters. So your demographics, your prevention priority, whatever filter you would like to show whatever picture it is to whomever your audience is when you're doing this. So other people can filter, but also for your use, to be able to send a particular link to your MLA or to your council. If they're wanting to know what's happening for seniors or what the impact is on seniors, you can choose that, or you can give your whole data. Or if I wanted to give all of the Calgary Bow region's data, I could click on all of the Calgary Bow communities, and then that would show the data for Calgary Bow, what's happening, what's the impact. And the other really great thing about this is there's a print option with it filtered. And when you send the link, unlike so many other links that you send, you lose your filters. It keeps your filters on. So certainly people, once they receive that, they can undo the filters and whatever, but you're sending a link with filters attached, giving the data and the information in the way that you want them to first interact with that data. And this is a beautiful page. If we scroll, after we look at sort of all of those filter opportunities, it gives your participant profile. It gives the prevention strategies that you've used. It gives the prevention priorities. It's like a full picture about, who had positive impacts, how your program was delivered. And then it also shows that alignment to the old provincial or outcomes that we have set forth. And then there's our photos and our connected words and bubbles as well. So everything that you see on those prevention priority pages where they're defined by that, this is the same data, but it's defined by your location. And then you can also continue to explore down back into the major priorities on the page.
So I would suggest, I know we've got veteran directors on here and we've got new directors. So I would just say, if you've got 2023 data, put in your 2023 data. Okay.
Yes.
Don't worry about putting in your 2024. If you're new and you're like, I don't know, hopefully there was 2023 data, but I don't know where it is right now. Start with what you got. Put in what you can. And so I see what happens to the data after 365 days. You can appreciate we just can't keep that amount of data. And like Tara says, it would skew your results, right? So if you want to track improvements to the program, like you could definitely take it and like you said, you're going to be able to share those links. You're going to be able to print and download your information as well. So do so.
Well, and I also think your improvement in terms of your key results and those sorts of things will be tracked through your annual reports to the province. And so, you know how they archive within your accessible system, you will be able to see year over year in terms of the specific OKRs and results there.
Yeah. And as far as it says, is this tool being envisioned to be used for different groups? Jody, this is our advocacy tool, right? This is to promote the prevention work that's being done locally and also across the province. So, can you use this for your municipal leaders so they have an idea of what's happening with RMA? Yes. Are we going to be presenting this at RMA? No. But this link can definitely be shared with your municipal leaders.
Unless they ask us to, I'm just going to say, if they ask us to, we could give them a show.
Okay, you heard that first from Tara. She would love to show this. The front-facing page, how do we have access to it? We need all your data in, right? We are going to showcase that front face at the November conference. That's the hope. Right now, we need the information in. And you've got till, I think we gave you guys a deadline. Lucky you. I want to say we're hoping to have everybody's, or at least something put in by all the directors by November 1st. So that gives Tanisha time to go through, and if things have to be sent back because you've asked them to be you needed to edit or change something, it gives us time to do that before the conference. And we will have a session at the conference as well to answer any further questions as well. So perfect. Great. again, you can reach out to Melissa or Tara or myself. If there's any further questions, we really appreciate the feedback. I think this has been a labor of love to get us to this point, but we're really excited. You know, we've never had the opportunity. Our annual reports, they go in, we don't see that information. This is a way to showcase some of that, right? Just a piece of it to at least give those that we're trying to advocate to some sort of visual as to the work that you folks are doing on a daily basis. So perfect. Any other burning questions?
I was going to say,
guys.
I was trying to scan the chat if there was anything we missed. I think there was one request around missing where the print is.
Yeah. And I think you would have seen that under location when Tara was talking about those filters. They're right underneath there, applying filters, sharing our impact. There we go. All those lovely little icons.
So can they also print the back form? Because I think the question actually came in during us looking at the back end. I might be wrong, and I am not sure.
I don't know. Melissa, do you know that?
I'm not sure. Let me just try sharing and see what happens here. So
you could probably screenshot it if you're hoping just to fill out a hard copy before you started.
I guess like if you just screenshot maybe, or we'll have to ask that one for sure, but
okay.
Unless you can just
not sure 100% if you were looking for a print from this, but certainly on the front end, once it's all fancied up and you have the picture, there's an opportunity to print in
just be printing your screen from this data form.
Yeah.
Copy and paste. Yeah, Denise.
Yes.
When in
Old
doubt,
school.
just
I'm with
copy
you,
and paste that sucker in there. You know, I could see that being helpful for those who wanted to kind of pre-edit stuff before they actually put it into the form. So there's hopefully not a back and forth with edits. For sure, you could do that, or at least makeshift it until we can get back to you on whether you can just print that. So perfect. Thanks for the feedback, guys. We we did our best trying to compile and tell the story in as simplified way as we could to make this good for new directors coming on board and for those who are veteran directors as well. So thank you.
So please, our ask, we're so glad you guys came. If you can get data in there so that when we launch that front facing, come the conference, that we really have a lot of good data in there. And we know municipal elections are coming this year. Having this as an advocacy tool there, that with a really robust picture for them to even just understand and then, work forwards through our MLAs and things is going to be great. Yeah. Great.
Kelly, I see a hand.
Yeah, I was just curious if there was I didn't see on the form about timing. So does it know if we're putting in our 2023 or 2024 data?
We do, but it doesn't.
Okay, so when someone comes to look at it on the front page, it might look like we have this whole bunch, but it's 2023 and 2024? If we're doing both? Or you just stick to just one?
I would just stick to 2023.
Yeah, I would just stick to one at this point, especially if, you've got within your municipality and they're like, so, what data is this? And you can say, well, it's 2023, but we've got such a variety across the province of different programs, right? From urban to rural, so many different sizes, and depending on in those larger centers where they're getting reported to by a variety of organizations that they've funded, they've only got a certain time that they'll be putting, theirs in, right? So we had to somehow just do, 365 days and then there'll be a data dump kind of thing. So yeah, I think getting in the 2023 at least gives us something substantial to go on at this point.
So does it start at the beginning of the year then? Like when would the data dump be? Like, I'm just curious, like when does the 365 time start?
From when you've entered it.
Oh, from when we've entered it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So then it might not, okay, I'll keep
Okay.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, every organization will figure out what works best for them, right? Good. Do we update the, yeah. Yeah, Celeste, you'll want to update the data each year, for sure. I mean, there might be programs that you're still doing the same program, right? You think of something like even, you know, Meals on Wheels or the Canadian Volunteer Income Tax Program. That's something we do, but those numbers are going to change depending on how many participants we have that year. So yeah, it's 60 days until new data is to be. No, I don't think you're going to get any kind of alert or notification. That would be lovely. Like a bell that went off. It's time. It's time. No, I think that's within your organization to kind of set that. But we update monthly if we like. Yeah, I mean, and Anna, if you want to put stuff in monthly going forward, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, Jody. Yeah, we can build a lot of stuff in, people. It's just how much the developers, and we know we're going to have, once the 3Hive is done with the update to outcomes and the framework moving forward, we know there's going to be a cost there, right? In that one area. So that might be the time that they relook at, you know, are there some things that we're really happy with the way this is functioning, and is there some tweaks that can be made in the system?
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, I think that's part of what you were saying earlier, that in the immediate future, we are not planning on making any major impacts, but there's been some good points already brought up today that when we do that investment, that we will make sure that we include those things that aren't of an urgent nature, but are certainly of a good functional decision making down the road. So we will get them done when it's all on one bill rather than piecemealing together a cost to the association that doesn't make sense.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll let you go. I know many of you have to run, and we said this was only going to be an hour. So thanks very much. And reach out to Melissa or Tanisha if you need any assistance ASAP. And then also Tara and I will be available. But get stuff happening before November 1st, please. So each of your programs has something to demonstrate. That would be awesome. Thanks again.
Thanks, everyone.